for over 30 years, although if you look at him, he looks like he's about 25. He's the founding principal of Schmidt Design Group, and their work balances artistic expression in design with environmental sensitivity. Glenn Schmidt.
Thanks, David. Everyone, I'm pretty excited to share with you about some thoughts about landscape architecture and how we're going to save the world. FYI, we are not the folks in overalls and carrying shovels. I hope by the end of the presentation you're going to realize, like I do, that we are the architects of survival. So, let's talk about some of the issues that we're faced. This is a graph of the accumulation of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere. This graph goes back 420,000 years ago. There's still people that are looking at this graph and saying that global climate change has nothing to do with man. And I don't believe that's the case. But landscape architects are part of the solution. We design the green infrastructure that offsets a lot of these issues. For example, one single mature tree can store as much as 48 pounds of carbon throughout the year. So we have landscape architects all over the world specifying literally millions of trees. And we're making a huge difference. Also, how we place those trees is essential. How we place those trees affects urban heat island. And in this case, I'm showing how we affect energy consumption of buildings. So here we can save as much as 20 or 25% by proper placement of trees adjacent to a building. This also shows, though, one of the things that we're going to correct, and that's a wasteful aesthetic in landscapes. We're overusing turf grass tremendously to the point where we're getting so fanatical about it, we're putting in plastic grass. 2 out of 3 of these yards are synthetic turf. They use it up, not the synthetics, but normal grass uses 4 to 5 times more water than a lot of our more appropriate plant materials. So landscape architects, we're designing landscapes that are appropriate for our region. Mediterranean plant material, climate appropriate, California natives. This is a garden designed by Marcy Harris right over here. It's an urban agricultural garden. So we're going to look at more productive gardens in the future. And this is all about the future of landscape architects and landscape architecture in our region. If a lot of you surf, it sounds like, as I do, and most of you have gotten sick, as I have, from the water. And landscape architects are part of that solution as well. Our landscapes, through phytoremediation and something else, bioremediation, we cleanse these waters. So here's an example of Cottonwood Creek Park that we designed in Encinitas, where we daylighted a creek and ran it through a new riparian zone that we created. After the park opened in 2004, the pollutants in that watershed dropped significantly. This is called low-impact development. It's something that's part of all of what we do. We also have a natural system that does that, and that's our canyon lands. And our canyon lands are essential to our well-being and even our visual identity as a city. Landscape architects are protecting our canyon lands. Do you know that San Diego County has more biodiversity than any other county in North America? Oh yeah. Let's talk about lifestyles and health and well-being. Back in the day, you walked everywhere, right? Exercise was part of your daily routine, rain or shine, like these ladies and the creepy guy in the back. Okay, today we have to put forth an effort to get exercise, right? And we are really bad at it. For example, Nielsen Ratings has determined that the average American watches 153 hours of television a month. Look at 24-hour fitness or Corona. God forbid you get a little exercise going to the gym. Huh? So, what does this mean? What does this mean? So let's take a look at obesity trends in the United States. 1985, a few of the states have about 10 to 14% of the folks that are obese. Look at 2009, when states in the South have over 30% of their population is obese. What does this have to do with landscape architecture, you're asking? What we do is we design communities that are walkable. We get people outside. This is a coastal rail trail we designed at Solana Beach. And it's just one piece of a large plan that's been national planned by WRT that goes from Oceanside all the way to San Diego. So we're getting people outdoors and we're enjoying walking and biking. Also, of course, we design our public parks. Thank you. Yeah. But the thing is, we design parks with children's play areas and everything, but we need to design for all generations, including places for teens and for a growing elderly population. Which actually, I am one of those. Oh yeah. So these are three of our projects. Let's talk a little bit about mental health. That graph that I showed you of the United States was it's true for depression too. Look at the South, where 10 to 15% of folks are depressed. Antidepressant drugs are the most prescribed drugs in the United States. But landscape and nature is part of the solution. In his book, Last Child in the Woods, Richard Louv talks about, he coined the term nature deficit disorder. That we're disconnected from nature, and that's a big part of what's causing our stress. And as landscape architects, we're reconnecting people with nature. And our landscapes heal. And we've got all kinds of studies that demonstrate that. My favorite one is by Roger Ulrich, and this is that study. And what he did is he looked at patients that were recovering from gallbladder surgery, and the folks that had a view into a landscape courtyard versus an empty wall, they recovered faster, and they needed less pain medication. So our landscapes heal. So kind of getting to the big point here is we've been focusing a lot of our sustainable design on buildings. This is the LEED Platinum building, okay? And it's surrounded by concrete, and it's in Arizona. So the point is that as landscape architects, we're opening up and we're looking at sustainable design in a more comprehensive way. And our professional association, ASLA, along with two others, has created the Sustainable Sites Initiative. And this is a LEED-like rating system for landscapes. We'll have the metrics, and I've kind of touched a few of the focus areas. It's a 250-point system. We have actually 150 pilot projects all over the world right now. And right here in San Diego, we have 3 of those pilot projects that are moving towards certification. 2 that we designed, Cottonwood Creek Park, and the Stone Brewing and Will Bistro in Escondido. And then Helix Environmental, their headquarters in La Mesa. So there we are, landscape architecture, man and woman. About 50% of the folks in our profession are women. So we're coming to save the day, and we're going to save the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. That's Glenn Schmidt. And okay.